Let me share my screen and then let's start the class. Share screen, share. All right, let's start. I apologize for the delay in the class. We ought to have started before now. I had an emergency I had to attend to. And then these glitches we had with YouTube. But I guess we're all on the same page now. We can start the class properly. So let me welcome you officially to the producing and directing workshop. This is Lagos Film School, just in case you don't know the name of the school. My name is Damola Adenle. I'm the director of Lagos Film School. And just like I said before we stopped on YouTube, the first session of this class is for both directing and producing trainees. We will split into the separate classes at a later time later today, but let's start with a general class for everybody because there's a lot that the producers must know and directors must know to be able to function properly in film. Okay, so let's start from there before we even get to Nollywood. I made a statement. I said the film industry in Nigeria is almost 100 years old. The first film in Nigeria was made in 1929. Title of the film, Palava. Okay, that is to say that we have a history. And if we don't connect and retrace our steps to our original history, we might not know how to move forward. You know, there's something unique and peculiar to Nigeria. It's sad. This is nothing political, but it's sad that we've had bad leadership over the years. Okay, but the trajectory Nigeria was during colonial rule, if we had continued on that trajectory, would have gone very, very far. The unique relationship Nigeria had with Britain was like this, because a lot of British people were in Nigeria. Anything that gets to the UK, they bring it to Nigeria for them to enjoy. You'd be surprised to know that Nigeria had electricity before a lot of other countries in Europe. We had, I think before Sweden, Nigeria had electricity. Before Sweden. Why? Because the moment any new technology lands to the UK, and UK and US were essentially the world powers at that time, any new technology, any new innovation gets introduced to them first, and the next place they bring it to, India, Nigeria. Okay, same with film. So, like I said, not political at all. I said that just to bring it home to film. So the same way, when a new technology gets introduced, the UK has it cascades down to us in Nigeria. Same with film. Okay, such that in 1929, barely after film was a thing, the first film was shot in Nigeria, maybe before any other African country even. Of course, which is why we have probably the first, not probably, definitely the first TV station in Africa, and so on and so forth. All right, so how does that help us as filmmakers or intending, aspiring filmmakers? The idea is this. The day you know that you're a prince, imagine someone who is a pauper, walks on the streets, is homeless, is like does kaya, carries loot for people, and then someday some men walk up to him and they tell him that you are the long lost prince of Ajagbangidi village and the king is dead and you are the next in line for, do you know that man's life will change from that moment forward? His way of thinking changes. His way of behavior and talking changes, especially when he now gets crowned. It totally changed man. That's the connection between you and your roots. Understanding who you are, where you're from, tends to change your orientation and your approach to issues. Yeah, and that's the reason why I'm referring us back to where we started from in film as in Nigeria as a country. Okay, so the idea is simple. There's a disconnect, a major disconnect between how films ought to be made and how we make films today. Most filmmakers practicing, aspiring, what they know is the shambles of what we have as an industry. because I will not lie to you, right now, the industry is in shambles. We just don't know it. Hold on. Before it looks like I'm running down the industry, I am not. Not in any way. Now, the reason why all of us can sit down here today is because some people have been making films for a couple of decades now, and they've grown it into an industry, and we aspire to also join that industry. Yes? So I am not in any way running them down or belittling the good work they've done up until now. However, another Yoruba proverb says, the day a man realizes he's mad, that is the day he's cured. There is no way to help a man who does not know he has a problem. And until you can look the problem in the eye and admit that, okay, there's a challenge, solutions will not come. Okay? So my saying that the industry is in shambles is not ridiculing the industry. It is pointing out to us that there are a lot of challenges that if we don't overcome them, Nigeria's film industry will stay as it is. And you'd wonder, but we're on Netflix, we're on Amazon, we have cinemas, you know, we have YouTube, probably one of the biggest YouTube filmmaking industry in the whole of Africa. Yes, all of that. But can anybody answer this? This is both to those of us physical here and those online. Can you tell me any Nigerian film that has won any prestigious international award? Any? Can anybody online answer that? Do you know any Nigerian film that has won any prestigious international award?
There is none. All the awards that, the awards they normally get are the Afro Hollywood Awards created by Nigerians abroad, Nigerians who live in America and Britain.
Exactly.
Those are the kind of awards we win.
Exactly. So the question is, let me connect. The question is why? Where's the audio?
Okay. I think the why lies in technicalities.
Technicalities,
kind of. And the technologies we adopt.
Maybe in a way.
The story script writing skills that we have.
Okay.
Because Indians place a lot of attention to details when you watch Indian movies.
Yeah.
But most times Nigerian movies are predictable. You can say and predict where the thing is going the next 5-10 minutes.
Okay. All right.
I think to me, if what I have to say about
American movies are also predictable, very predictable.
Yeah, to me, I think we are in a hurry to make our films.
Okay. Let me allow those. Just a minute. Let me allow those who are physically present. Somebody wants to make a comment. Please go ahead, sir.
Okay. For me, what I'm probably doing films, I think it's a lot more of the same way we can differentiate business and trading.
Yes.
So our people are making commercial films.
Yes.
They don't want to, they are not doing professional films.
Okay.
They make a commercial film to make money. They're not making film for film. That's why I've done a lot of stuff with French African people. It's difficult to see a French African country that's making a film. Difficult because when they want to make a film, they want to make a film like Hollywood.
Yes.
And it costs a lot of money.
Yes.
And they don't have marketing side, how to sell it, how to make money and all that. So that affects them. That's why when you study like Burkina, you see that there's kind of Burkina. Most of their film is in France, all those countries. Yes. But their film wins award. Even Burkina win award internationally. Exactly. They are local because the kind of film they do, they're not doing commercial film. They do film, the way film is done, the procedure and the process.
Okay.
Nigeria,
okay. We should give this man a certificate. He should graduate. You know, like he should just collect certificate and graduate.
But sorry, sir.
Okay.
Because it has been present for a while now, so I need to know. Is that different between filmmaking and movie making?
Oh, okay. Okay. Good question.
Let me make the mistake. filmmaking, movie making? Is that any different?
Actually, there is a subtle difference. There's a subtle difference between filmmaking and movie making. It's a very, 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 very valid question. I'll answer that in a minute. Let's hold on. Okay. But to this point we're speaking to about, I will answer the question. There's a slide for it. That's why I want to just wait till we get there. Okay. So, but to speak to the question of Nigerian films, why we've not won any international award, and he's actually very spot on. People assume that the challenge the Nigerian movie industry has is funds. I disagree. We have money. We just don't have the motivation to spend the money and to spend it right. Like he just said, we do commercial films. It's more like a formula. Put this and this element in the film, people will watch, full stop. And you're not motivated to do anything above and beyond that. So it's just it's like a popcorn thing we do. It's just mix, shake, pass, collect money, move on to the next. Whereas, best foreign film, there's a Academy Awards category for best foreign films. Several African countries have won that award. Nigeria has never won it. The closest we got was Lionheart's nomination, but she lost the nomination again. Why? Because the category is not for English speakers. The category is for best foreign film, meaning a film made in you get. That's what it's about. And most of that film was in English. That was what disqualified the film. Some people said it was politics. It wasn't so much of politics. So a French film, for example, would have made the cut, especially if it is done well.
Oh, sorry, that is only making mistake. I was arguing with that one day. I was like, that is how we do it.
I'm coming to that. That is how we do it. Beautiful. So just in case you didn't hear him, he said he was arguing with the director, and the director said that is how we do it. So me too. Also, I once overheard a radio interview. I can't remember who he was. He was one of the top producers, directors, female this person was. And she said, and I quote, and it is one of the things that this producing class is predicated upon. She said, and I quote, that, but we're telling African stories. The Nigerian films are okay the way they are. We're telling African stories. And who best to tell African stories than us? I felt like I should shook my hand inside the radio and tear her slap. It sounds harsh, but true. Now, here is the drift. She said she did two things in that one sentence. She told half of a truth and she mixed it with half of a lie. The truth is what most of us will hear, which is truly, who best to tell African stories than us Africans? You know that is essentially true. There is no denying that fact. But to point out the lie in what she said, let me ask a question. Chimamanda Adichie, yeah? If she wrote the book the way we write books, do you think she would have won any prestigious international award? She won awards she won literary awards because she followed quote and unquote the format for writing books. Imagine if she had put the epilogue in front and she had put the prologue at the back. And that's what we do with film. Just in case we don't know what the problem is in Nigeria and the Nigerian film industry, we do things the way we want to, the way they've told us, not the way it ought to be done. And when we are challenged, what we'll say is, but we are telling African stories. We are telling Nigerian stories. And that's how we've been doing it.
Sir, the thing there is that probably because they are making money for it. Because like I watched the movie one day and it start from the end.
You can do that in film. That's perfectly acceptable in film.
But check Nigerian movies these days, especially quote and unquote, they use content.
Yeah.
You will never find movies starting from the end.
All right. So that we don't spend all day going back and forth, let me just speak to what is on the table. So, filmmaking is not an African concept. Tribal marks is an African concept. Masquerades are African concepts. And you find white men come to Africa, come to Nigeria to come and understudy and learn from us how we do these things. True or false? However, film is not an African concept. You can't take it and do it the way you want and expect them to respect you for doing it the way you want. If you're going to do film, you must do film the way film is done. If you don't take anything away from this class, it is this, that film has a process and has a technique, and you must do film the way film is done if you want to be successful, especially on the global stage. Yes, it's recorded. Exactly. That was the reason why, though there was a technical itch, I wanted to make sure that it was, you get. So we started late, but good. We can always refer back to this. Fine. So, you know what? Let me go back to E. I should. But those of us who are at home, the internet is good, the connection is good. You can hear me and you can see me, yes?
Yes.
Okay.
All good.
All right. So let me start from here. Let's follow the slides a little, and then I'll give room for more questions. We'll address other things. All right. So yes, that's what I'm going to address now. All right. So let's start from here. Every country in the world has its own film industry. The three biggest film industries in the world are Hollywood in the US, Bollywood in the UK, in India, and Nollywood inside one bush. Abi, is it me that puts Nollywood inside bush? Okay, no, but Nollywood in Nigeria. Now, joke as a joke. Now, Nollywood is the second largest industry in the world by volume. Okay? Back in the day when we were doing VCDs, it was measurable. And the industry had a cap. 50 films were released per week. Okay? That is when we were second largest. But you know that there's no cap right now. Anybody can release any film either on YouTube, on any platform. So when we were doing 50 movies per week, times 52, how much is that? Is that not about 3,000 films per year? How many films do you think we make now? More than 10,000 or 15,000 films per year now. No more regulation. So we're doing, let's say in the rough, let's just peg it at 20,000 films per year now. Okay, so Nollywood is the second largest film industry by volume, by the number of films we put out, but not by revenue. That definitely belongs to Hollywood. Okay, who said Nollywood is taught by revenue? That's a typo. Nollywood was not even, we are not even on the top 30 list by revenue. Don't even go there. All right. I did that to introduce us to the industry, but now let's go to film production. Before I talk about film production, I'll answer your question, but let me answer this first question. Because we have a challenge in Nigeria. We have plenty challenges. One of them is nomenclature and the specific names we call specific things. Most times Nigerians are quote and unquote illiterate, ignorant, and they coin up their own lingo for things. Okay? I'm sure you know enough things that the name they call it is not what it actually is. Okay, so let's talk about film production and filmmaking, for example. There's a difference between filmmaking and film production. One is a subset of the other. Can we guess which is the superset, which is the subset? Which do you think is higher, filmmaking or film production? Okay, that's correct. Filmmaking is, and then film production is a subset of filmmaking. But again, that is also, it depends on who you ask. Okay, filmmaking is the entire picture, creative, logistics, administrative of filmmaking. Film production is specifically the logistic, not the artistic now, the logistical part of filmmaking. This is the production, the producer, what the producer does, and every other person who works alongside the producer. That chain and their function is film production. Administrative, legal, logistic, all of that. That is film production. Filmmaking, from one angle, can be seen as just the creative side of filmmaking, which is what the director does. But again, filmmaking is also used interchangeably to mean the big picture as a whole. So for the purpose of this class, let's put it this way. Filmmaking, the creative side, what the director and everybody in the creative end of filmmaking does. Film production, the administrative, logistical, the producers, both. So we have filmmaking, director, film production, producer. So let's just so that we agree on terminology, so that when we use them, we know what exactly it is we're talking about. All right? So what is filmmaking? Filmmaking is the process and the techniques of making a film. Can the slides be shared in the group? Not in the group. There's a lot of people who are in the group primarily just to poach on what we're doing, to attack what we do. So I will not share slides in the group. However, number one, the video is going to be uploaded. Anybody can catch a rewatch. And I can make handouts or learning resources available after that. You get, but not the slides. All right, so moving on. So filmmaking is a process and technique of making a film. Two keywords stand out here: process and technique. Number one, there's a process to filmmaking. Process meaning we go from one stage to the next, to the next, to the next. Appreciating and sticking to the process is how you get the result. E.g., you want to make, is it bread or cake? Let's say cake. You want to make cake. And you don't add eggs at the beginning. You choose to add your own egg. After you bake the cake, you now add the egg. Is it going to work? Is it cake you will have? And even if it is cake, it goes sweet. Do you get it? There's a process. There's a point in time when you add milk to the mixture. That's a milk, eggs to the mixture. There's a point where you add this, and so there's a process to life, there's a process to things, there's a process to film making. Secondly, filmmaking also has techniques, specific things we do, technical and creative, to achieve the vision. Next. Is it moving? All right. Filmmaking is also an art and a craft. When we say craft, we mean like a handiwork. The way a mason, by the way, is, okay, 15 naira. Who is a mason? Anybody who gets it collects 15 naira. 15 naira prize money. Sir, it's 15 naira prize money we are giving. A mason, yes. Somebody has collected my 15 naira already. Okay, so a mason is a builder, a bricklayer, etc. A mason. So handiwork like basket making, block making, those are handiworks. There are things you can learn. Carry it up, put it here, place it like this. That's handiwork. That's a craft. So filmmaking is a craft that you can learn. Okay, but it is also an art. Art is subjective. If you see a basket, you can tell if it was made well or if it was poorly made. Yes or yes? That is objective. Crafts are objective. You will see some houses, you know that this one was a carpenter that built this house, not a bricklayer. Oh my work. Okay. However, what's it called? Art, on the other hand, is subjective. It's the reason why some people love horror films and they don't like romance. And some like drama and they don't like action. It's subjective, which is the reason why you can't afford to be too emotional about stuff you do. Because not everybody will like what you have done. Do you understand? Because it's subjective, and that's fine. All right, moving on. So filmmaking is an art and a craft. Okay, you're showing the story rather than telling the story. And then we come to here. This is about answering your question, sir, which is there are three basic styles of filmmaking. documentary, narrative, and instructional. Where documentary is a journalistic style recording of real events. If you've ever seen National Geographic, you've seen a documentary. Thing is, most of us don't know that documentaries are films. A documentary is a film. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. A documentary is a film. Just as much as number 2, narrative filmmaking. Can I see your face now, sir? Narrative filmmaking. This is the one we call movie. So when we say film, this is what most people think of, meaning films that are telling a story, movies, music videos, etc. fall in this category. And to us, we think this is all there is to filmmaking. We think this is all there is to films. But even documentaries are films. Wait, that YouTube video you're doing is a film. Which brings us to number 3, instructional films. The kind of videos that teaches how to do something, religious programs that walks you through something. Note, a YouTube video and a Christian show are very similar. You have someone who is teaching you something, either how to make a hat or how to give your life to Christ. Yeah? The steps of what this person is teaching, they write it on the screen, YouTube video. The Bible verses this person is reading, they write it on the screen. Do you see the similarities? They're essentially instructional videos. Yes, Faith. Is it possible to make 2 different styles? Very possible. So you could have, there's something called a docudrama. God bless you, sir. Which is a mixture. Huh? It's best on stage. No, sir. No, sir. It can be both ways.
No, I know. You know why?
Yes.
Drama like that. There's a thing they use for you.
Okay.
When it's coming on screen. Or basically on stage.
It's all right. We'll get to that also in a minute. I'm coming. We'll get to that. So before we even go on, let me find this. How many of us are taking the directing class? The directing class. Okay. How many of us are taking the producing class? Are you? Right. Okay. You are taking both producing and directing. Just you are taking both. Both too? Both too. Okay. You, even if you want to take 17 courses, free for you, free. You are the sponsor, you are our sponsor. So you can take everything plus everything. Okay. All right. So I've been out. Thank you very much, sir. All right. So I'll address stage versus film at a later date, at a later time. All right. So, but this introduces us to the 3 basic styles of filmmaking: documentary, narrative, and instructional films. Okay, even a news report is in its own way a film. And where I'm going to is this: I need us to approach all the stuff we do from that perspective, understanding that you're making a film and applying the basic ideas of filmmaking to this content that you're creating. It opens your production up to a world of, different ideas. All right, moving on. Now, I talked about process of filmmaking. Yeah, this is, I said it's in stages. Now, this is the stages of filmmaking. I need to reduce the volume of this thing. The stages of filmmaking. Yeah, there are 5 stages. Development, stage 2 is pre-production. You have the production, post-production, marketing, and distribution. Okay. So I'll walk us through all of these stages. Remember, I said earlier that there are certain things that either you're a producer or a director, you should know. And that's what we're addressing in this particular class. Okay. You must know the stages of production. Either you're a producer or you're a director, because you are anchoring each of these stages. Now, the producer and director are 2 sides of a coin. While the producer is the captain on the ship, administratively, the director is the captain of the ship creatively, or we can use the word technically. Okay? And although the producer hires the director, meaning the director is essentially a subordinate to the producer, but the producer understands that he can do nothing without the director. That they are making a film is actually a brainchild of the director. We'll talk about the relationships between both, who does what, the specific things they do as we continue in this class. Yeah? Volume, where's volume again? Yeah. All right. So, moving on. Of the producer. Good question. How many more minutes? 9 more minutes before this class ends. So his question is, why is a film the brainchild of the director and not of the producer? Let's start from here. The end credits or the beginning credits of a film. It goes thus. You'll see a Damola Adenle film, or you could see a Damola Adenle presentation or a film by Damola Adenle. It is acknowledging the different works that the different groups of people do. Film by or presented by speaks to the producer. A Damola Adenle film says it is owned by Damola Shey. Do you know who that is referring to? The director. The director owns the film. Well, the creative part of the film, the intangible part of the film. The producer owns the intellectual property of the film. Sir, let's do this. Since this is class, let me explain. And then if you come to class with, I don't agree with that, then we won't get much.
No, I said I don't understand.
Oh, you said you don't understand. Oh, okay. I thought you said, okay, all right, I get that now. So let me explain a little further. Let me explain the job of a producer for us in layman terms. A producer, his job is to A, source for an idea that can be made into a film, a concept that can be made into a film, or identify an actor whose face can sell a film, or identify a theme or a subject that will do well in the market. He's a businessman first and foremost, an administrator and a businessman. His job is to identify prospects, either idea, actor, face, something to leverage on, theme, whatever it is. Number one. Stage two, source for money, resources to develop that idea into a film. Stage three, find a way to make that film within budget and on schedule. Stage four, sell the film to make a profit. Yes. No, that is not in doubt. No, if that is the question, that is definitely not in doubt. It's the reason why the only person who can make profits and make money from a film is the producer.
Now, why is it that back to what you just said that the director?
I'm coming to that. So like I said, the person who can make profit from a film is the producer. They're no born director. Well, from back in the day when we were making VCDs, for director to go and carry one VCD and go and sell it, they will sue him to high heavens. He can't. His job, what he owns in the film, is that it's my creative brainchild. I birthed this. Okay, wait. See, this is the best analogy to this. Who owns a child, the father or the mother? You see now? Father, because if he did not impregnate. However, do you know that the world acknowledges that the woman owns the child? Because if she did not carry the child in her womb and gestate and 9 months, there will be no baby. So in that way, in that wise, the woman is the director, so to speak, but the father is the producer. If the father did not conceptualize and impregnate and deposit, there will be no child in the first instance. The father owns the seed. The mother carries the seed.
Because of the role the mother plays.
Exactly. Exactly. So that's the analogy between producer and director. So the director essentially owns the film creative-wise. We acknowledge that it's the brainchild of the director. If he did not bring that creative input, we will not have a film. If there is no egg to fertilize, no matter how much seed you carry as a man, it go waste. So you have money to make a film, but there is no know-how to drive it through from beginning to the end. Okay, you get the drift. So please, sir, you are too fast. Sorry, I'll try and slow down. I'm sorry. Okay, so there's so much to drop that they do me like, All right, but let's go on. So I think I've established, at least basically, the relationship between producer and director. Okay, which is the reason why producer makes profit or makes a loss. Director is not concerned. The director is not involved per se in the business side of the film. So the director owns the film, but he knows what he owns. He knows his limits of what he owns in a film. The producer owns everything about the film. It's the reason why there's always this clash between producer and director as to the final film that is released. You'll find the director sit with the editor, they've edited, they call it the director's cut. Yeah. But the producer disagrees and say, no, I want that. See, where the cloth fell off from the girl that you cut away, put it back inside. And the director is like, he's not modest. He has to, yeah. The producer is like, okay, I don't hear you. You don't finish. Okay, they go to your house. Hey, editor, come. So she puts it back inside. Who has the final say? Producer. But you know, it also cramps the creativity of the director because he's the one who is envisioning and bringing to life this vision. So it's painful. The people who actually suffer the most, quote and unquote, in this industry are directors, because they get to have their dreams sometimes crippled, cramped, choked, panel beaten, boxed a lot of times. So director will not allow you, if he has the power over they will not allow you to do that. So we'll get to that at a later date, the way some directors have learned how to circumvent the process and make sure that the vision they have is the final result that comes out. There's a way around it, but it is not for baby directors. You'd have cut your teeth. You know your onions before you get there. There's a lot of technical stuff we'll do in the directing class. It's quite technical. Okay? There's a lot of business administrative stuff we'll do in the producing class. It's a business class, so to speak. Okay? So let's move on. So I was speaking to the 5 stages of film production. So let's start. I talked about the 5 stages: development, pre-production, production, post-production, and then marketing and distribution. One thing to note here is each of these stages has an end result. Yeah? Where's my video? Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, I was saying that each of these stages has an end result. And the end result of stage 1 is the raw material for stage 2. The end result of stage 2 is the raw material for stage 3, and so on and so forth. Okay. All right, corrected. So let's go to stage 1, the development stage. This is where, this is where the producer comes up with a concept or agrees on what exactly this film is going to be about, the development stage. And the end result of this stage is the script. Okay? The end result of this stage is what? The script. Pin. Okay, there we are. Why do we need a script to make a film? Do you know you can shoot a film without a script? But the question is, why do we need a script? Why do we use a script? Anybody? Okay, that's true. That's one of the things the script does for us. It guides us step by step on the process of making it. True. But there's one key cogent reason. Where is it? Can you sit where I can see you? I want to be sure you're following this class. Okay. What was I saying? Yes, there's one basic, most important reason why we use a script, and it goes thus. Filmmaking is a team sport. It's very collaborative, and you have a lot of people working collaboratively to make the film work. Yes? if you don't have a script, you're going to have to be using mouth to explain to everybody who's going to be part of the film. So in this film, they are going to fight. DOP, you get it? They will fight. I said they will. How many people do you want to use mouth to explain to? So the first step is to codify the idea and distribute it. So although it's a guide, exactly, but we all understand what we're working on. That is the most important role that a script plays in a production. And then so many others, e.g., what's it called? It's a blueprint. So every department takes the script and it guides them on how to prepare and to make the film. It's for the not for us. Oh, did you say you can't hear us well? Hello?
We can hear. It's clear. Very clear.
Okay.
It's clear.
All right. All right then. So that's the first thing a script does. Gets everybody to be on the same page, and then other things the script does. So we'll get to talk about that in details in the directing class script. So after we have the script, that's the end of stage one. The script is the end result of the first stage. Yeah, this is what a standard Nollywood, did I say Nollywood? Forgive me. Hollywood script looks like. Standard format. Okay, we also have an AV script, an audio-visual script. We use this for things like documentaries and adverts, commercials, that is run primarily by narration, and then images and visuals are added to it. Anything that is driven by audio, we do an AV script for it, different from your regular script. Next up is you have a treatment. Music videos, etc., get to have only treatments. You don't need to have a script like this for a music video, because most music videos are essentially visuals that accompany. So you can actually do something like this for a music video also. The only reason why this won't work for a music video is you repeat shots in music videos. Yes or yes? We get to repeat the same shots a number of times. But in an advert, you don't repeat a lot of shots. In a documentary, not so much. So if you do this for a music video, you'll be repeating same lines. It's the reason why this is not the most efficient for a music video. This is more like it, where you're speaking in just, you are writing basic prose to describe the visuals we will see on the screen. All right. So that's with scripts. At least for this introductory part of the class, we need a script. This is what different kinds of scripts that are available. And then we move to stage two, pre-production. Pre-production is where we prepare for the shoot. Everything you need to do to get ready for the shoot is what we do here. And the raw material for stage two is what? The script. Remember, the script is the end result of stage one, and it is the raw material for stage two, pre-production. So what do we do in pre-production? You take the script and you break it down. Script breakdown is the first and most important stuff we do in pre-production. Sadly, in Nigeria, we rarely, hardly ever do pre-production. It is not in our character across board, especially not in Yoruba films. I agree. It's not in our character at all. Only on big budgets, maybe Netflix, cinema films that are like above 50 million in budget, 30 million, 50 million, that they will do any form of pre-production. Most films is straight from script to screen, like literally from script to screen. I don't mean it in a good way, in a bad way. Okay, so what do we do in pre-production? You take the script, break down the script to identify all the components that we need for the film. This is the most important part for us as filmmakers, either directors or producers. A large chunk of what we will learn in this class deals with the pre-production stage of filmmaking. Are we on the same page? Okay, so Here's an example. You take a script. I showed us a sample of a script before now. Yeah, this. And then you take colored markers like this. For example, character, green. And then you go through your script. And everywhere a character pops up, you mark it in green. Everywhere there's a specific costume, you mark it in blue. Everywhere there's a prop that needs to be used, whether a car, a gun, a phone, etc., you mark it in red. From beginning of the script to the end. You now go back and everything that you marked in green, you write it on a separate sheet of paper. This tells you how many casts you need for your film. Everything that you marked in blue, you write it on a fresh sheet. Hello. This sheet. You'll be blocking some. None of my business. Anything you mark in red, you write it on a sheet, a fresh sheet of paper. That becomes your list of props to get for the shoot. Imagine this. You don't do proper script breakdown. Yeah? You get quote and unquote the gun. Say is a 1-2-1-2 and you get the gun. But you don't get bullets, rubber bullets or whatever fake bullets that were fired. When you start shooting, you know it will look fake. Yeah? Or you call a school for location for them to loan you their school to use for a shoot. But because you don't do pre-production, you don't identify that the school you got is a primary school, the show you want to shoot is a secondary school, the seats in the class will be different, meaning you have to make available seats for that. Do you understand? So you get there to shoot on the day of the shoot is when you are not discovering that seats no match. You know, say you don't enter one chance. Exactly. That is what pre-production is supposed to solve for you. Dami, are you sure you want to be here? Be here, please. Okay, and so on and so forth. We'll talk about how to break down a script properly in the producing class and the directing class. But it's more of the job of the producer and the production department. Now, when I say producer, I don't mean one individual. I'm speaking to the whole department, the production department, including station manager, production manager, line producer, everybody who's under the production department, okay? Including the assistant director. By the way, are you aware that the assistant director belongs to the production department, not to the creative department? AD. Bene. No, sir. Bene. Sounds counterintuitive, doesn't it? Don't worry, when we get to that review, I just say make I drop that bomb now. All right. So, and then you create a short list. This is for the director. The goal of, yes, please. Yes. Is it? Yes. But again, no. Nobody wants to know how you broke down your script. Nobody wants to know which color you used. Is the end result. So even if you choose your own arbitrary colors, as long as you know what your color means to you, and you can extrapolate the resources from it, that's good enough. But yes, this is largely accepted, this one. All right. So next is the short list. The director, when you break down the script as a director, one of the key things you want to come out with is a short list. A list of all the shots you will take during the shoot. This is also what the script continuity would adapt to be able to have a list of shots they need to monitor when you start shooting. Same way for the assistant director. But we'll get to that in a minute. All right, let's move on. And then the end result of the pre-production stage is this, production lists. But not just so that you keep it on a list, but for you to go ahead and acquire the items on the list. So you have a list of locations. Do you leave it on the paper or you go to get those locations? You go to source for the locations now. Yeah. Which brings us to stage 3, the production phase of filmmaking. As a reminder, we started from stage 1, pre-production, development, where we come up with a script. Stage 2 is pre-production, where we plan for and get ready everything we need for the production. Stage 3 is when we use everything we've prepared from stage 2. This is where we now use them. Equipment, the actors, the locations, everything you got. This is where we use them for the shoot. The actual shoot takes place in the production phase of filmmaking. Another name for this phase is principal photography. Are we good? Principal photography. So the actual filming takes place, and the end result of this stage is the recorded videos, the rushes, the clips, the dailies, like they used to be called back in the day. We don't call them dailies anymore. They call them dailies back then because unlike now, when you can preview what you shot today, you can preview it on the LCD even while you're shooting. In the days of cinema cameras, you couldn't preview your work. So after it was shot, it will be taken to the labs to develop. They will now bring it back on the second day for you to preview. So you don't know whether you have messed up or not until the next day. That was why back in the day, filmmaking was, you had to know what you were doing. Unlike now, you can use your phone and you don't, Today with your phone, you can, in 30 minutes, you're done shooting, editing, and publishing the film. 30 minutes. Back in, waiting you shoot, you don't see them first. You would have to wait 24 hours before you can see. That's why they were called dailies back in the day. Okay? Rushes, recorded video, whatever name we'll call it now. But that's the end result of stage 3. Yeah, the production stage. Brings us to stage 4, post-production. Post-production is everything we do after we have shot, primarily video editing. Okay? Everything else from sound editing, sound design, VFX, animation, subtitling, etc. goes on in this stage. Yeah. And the end result is the finished video, the master tape, or the master disc, or the whatever name you want to call it, master file. But the finished result, that's the end result of post-production. The final stage, you have a question? What's that? Yes, yes. So it depends. It is used in post-production to be done way back. Do you understand? I can engage. Things take time. And as a producer, you should have an idea of the timeline for the different things you need for your film. So if something is going to take 3 months to finish, and shooting is going to take 2 weeks, you know it is sensible for you to have commissioned that things even before you start shooting. But if it is something that will take 2 days, you could as well wait for when you need it before you commission it. Does that make some sense? Yeah. So film composing, depending on the availability of even your, if it's, you understand. Although the best way this thing works is for him is after he sees what he's composing to. Not only am I reading a script, but I've also screened the film, and then I'm composing to the emotional beats of the film, so to speak. You get. But it doesn't, there's no formula to this thing. It's a form of madness, filmmaking. And different people get their own formula for madness. Wait, so remember I'm the one that talked about stages and techniques. I'm saying after you've observed all the stages and the techniques and the processes, you can now add your own madness to the mix, which is what gives your own its own particular flavor. Do you get it? For example, who is this director? Is it Christopher Nolan or who? No. Forgotten the name now. It doesn't record until the 20th take. Let me say that again. He does not press the record button until the 20th take. Nigerian director, go. I've forgotten. It's not James Cameron. It's not James Cameron. It's either Christopher Nolan or who is this Star Wars guy? George Lucas. I'm not sure. The name is out. Check it up again. I'll confirm who I've read it before. A particular director. It's not Quentin. It's not Quentin. Quentin has his own madness, but that's not the color of his madness. Different people have different colors and shades to their madnesses. So I was just painting the color of one person's madness. Like he believes that you must do it again, and the thing don't master you before it's ready to record. You understand? Okay, so this Oga knows acting. So there are two ways to acting. You either are acting from inside out or from outside in. most of stage acting is acting from outside in. You're not angry, but you feign it. And if you do it long enough, you'd actually start feeling anger here. That's acting from outside in, and it works for stage. But it's the problem with one of the problems with the Nigerian film industry is we have a lot of stage actors. We don't have film actors in Nigeria. We have stage actors. Wait. The Yoruba film industry has two associations for filmmakers, actors especially. What's the name of the associations? Can you remind me? ANTP and TAMPAN. What does ANTP means? Okay, I'll tell you. Who knows? Who knows before I say it? Association of Nigerian Theatre Practitioners. What do they call it? Theatre. They understand that what they do is theater. The origin of their acting, the method of their acting, the way they act is rooted in theater, not in film. Acting for film is different from acting for stage. And it's one of the places where we have missed it in the industry. Go ahead, let me hear. There's no best. They are different. Yeah.
Yes. You know, before you can on stage, like the stage on stage, to me, which is the best way of acting. To me. Because like you must have done your homework before you come on stage. So whatever happens to your stage is your own alone. You can't compare it to now that okay, camera cut, start making up again.
Yes. Okay. I choose to agree with you. Me, different. But really, you're right in a way. You're wrong too. Okay. Don't let me say you're wrong. You're right along the lines of the way you approach it. And that's all that matters. Let me say that again. Is the challenge we have in this country. You want me to accept what you're saying by force. You don't want to accept what I am saying. But the beauty of life is that you can be right with what you're saying. And it can be right for you. Does not mean it is right for me. And if we respect each other, I know what is right for me, and I just deal like this. And what is right for you, and you deal like this. You know, there'll be little issues. Problem is, if you want to force me to see it your way, or I'm trying to force you to see it my way, is what we're doing. If you voted for this government, you're an idiot, you're a bastard, you're a this, and same to the other way too. It doesn't make any sense. No politics, we're doing film. Let's stick strictly to film. So, but to speak to what you just said, it goes thus. The medium of film, remember I started by saying that film is not an African concept. And if you're going to do film, you should do film the way film ought to be done. Stage is also not an African concept. If you will do it, it should be done the way it ought to be done. However, change is one of the things that humans fear the most. When we are set in a certain way, we oppose change when it comes our way. And that's one of the challenges we have. Most Africans, Nigerians, especially in the film industry, are used to the ways of stage. They don't know that that is what they are used to. They just are set in that particular way, and they actively oppose any form of change. However, film is different from stage. Acting for stage is beautiful when you do it on stage. Hey, hello, listen to this. Hear it very well. Acting for stage is beautiful when it is done for stage. But the moment you bring acting for stage into film, it becomes ugly. Good question. Now, it's taking me where I don't know, but let me go there. Okay. It's not part of what I originally set out to, but then let's go there. So his question is, my statement is that acting for stage is beautiful when done for stage, ugly when done in film. And that is what we do currently. We do stage acting in film, whereas there are two different components. He's now asking, how do you differentiate acting for stage from acting from film? Beautiful. He goes thus. I need space. It will fall. Thank you. Thank you for noticing. So when we do stage, for example, stage is done on a stage, and there are audiences, and you stage a play in a theater that could have hundreds of people in attendance. Yes, and there might be like 20 rows of people. And when you perform, where is this organ? You stepped out, Abi. Okay. When you perform, you're performing both for the person in the first row and for those at the last row. So number one, you have to project. Okay. They must hear you. Number two, you have to communicate with your action. So you're not acting with just your face. You're acting with every part of you. So much so that for film, that for stage rather, some body gestures have been incorporated, like you understand what it means. I'm not feminine and I'm not gay. So what I'm about to do might look strange. I'm not trying to rhyme. It's just day. I know the rap, but follow. All right. So a lady goes like, what does that look like? A lady is, you're talking to a lady and she goes like, I know it looks terrible the way I'm doing it. I know, but then, but what does that look like? Even if a guy does that, what does it look
like? She's flirting. It looks like she's flirting.
Threatened.
It looks like she's flirting. Flirting, yeah.
Flirting, okay? It looks like she's flirting. She's doing women things to get the attention of the guy. Do you understand? Okay? It's a little overworked, but there are certain things you do that you automatically know what they mean. So if I clutch my stomach, depending on how I clutch it, you know it's either I'm hungry or I have a tummy ache. True or false? So even without saying words, even if you're 2 kilometers away and you see the way I gesture, you will know what it means. Stage has come to that level where certain gestures have been, they now mean certain things and we understand them to mean those things. Do you get where I'm going to? Summary is, stage is built primarily around gestures, projecting, body movement, and all of that. Film, on the other hand, the audience is your camera. The camera represents the audience watching the film. You said? Entirely. And the camera is right next to you. Unlike on stage, where the same way I'm speaking so that everybody in class hears, you have to project. For film, and the mic is here, I can literally talk this way and the film will pick it. Or do you know you're not hearing it? True or false? But you know it would have an emotional impact if I say this the way I'm saying it. Versus if I'm saying it this way. Like, can't you see that there's something wrong with this country? That works for stage. That is ugly on film. Yes, please. Yeah.
Yes, on film, it becomes overacting.
They want to they will tell you that they want from line one, from one to the last scene, that was the guy. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't. Now, like, so you doesn't make sense. So what does that mean? Now, what does that mean? To me, yes. Because they want to give you, they're just looking at the timing that one message. No. Sometimes. But like that can be, that was a scheme, just one episode. Once I go back, I was like, sorry, I can't shoot this down. I was like, why? He said it's a $100 million project, just only one episode. I was like, not in Nigeria. So now, your kind of gesture, to me, I can write different things of the same gesture without any lines. In Nigeria, is when you see husband slap wife. Why still asking the husband, you just slap me? Yeah. No, it is in Nigeria, you see that kind of situation, and I slap you. Was to repeat it. People in Denmark can just come and just like, you just give this kind of reaction alone. So that your gesture can for me and go for anything.
I get that. It's okay. It's okay. I agree. Sir, your class is really comprehensive. Please check the Zoom meeting time so we get forgotten online. Is Zoom still recording though? Wait, I guess we're still online, folks. Are we still there? Are we carrying you along?
Yes, we are still with you. Go ahead.
All right. All right. I just wanted to be sure. So, you know what I'll do? I don't want us to get too sidetracked. What this topic we're talking about is primarily around acting and script writing more than producing and directing. It should be touched upon though. It's something you need to know, especially as a director. We'll talk about that when we get to. So let me just mention this now. There are 7 things you need to know as a director. A director must know how to direct 7 things before you can even call yourself a director at all. Let me make the list. Number 1, you must know how to direct the story. First and foremost, a director that does not understand how to direct story, what exactly are you doing as a director? I don't mean you should be a script writer, not necessarily, but you should understand how story works, such that if you get handed a script, you can take a look and be like, no, this is not making sense. If I make this into a film, the world will think I'm an idiot. You should have a firm grasp of story to that extent. Number 2, you should know how to direct the camera. Most directors have no idea what the camera department is supposed to be doing. The DOP would ask the director, so how do we frame this shot? Like, and you know now, maybe you know, Style is using style to push that one to do the job because he does not know the shot to call. He doesn't know how to frame the shot. You should have a working understanding of not camera operation, but types of shots, what the shot types mean, when you use those kind of shots, etc. We'll discuss all of that in this directing class. Number 3, you should know how to direct, of course, sound. Sound is 80% of your film. The moment you lose track of sound, the moment your sound does not gel, the moment sound is not working, you have lost 80% of your film. Example, have you ever tried watching a horror film muted? Mute a horror film and watch it. You will not be afraid. Try it. 80% of what makes an horror film dreadful and scary is the sound. It does something, it fingers your brain, prepares you for the shock that is going to come. Stay with an action film. Remove all the remove all of that, mute it, watch it. It does not have the emotional impact anymore. Most directors don't understand. Filmmakers generally don't understand the power of sound to filmmaking. It's one of the things Nigerian films are lacking. It's just recently that people started paying attention to sound and started getting sound designers and sound producers to work on their film. Most times they just leave it to the editor. Editor will do sound. And what does editor know with sound? He is a video editor, not a sound editor. But because Mr. Man too must chop, he will collect it like that and do whatever he can do and give it to you. Do you get? Okay, so I said you should know how to direct the story, know how to direct the camera, know how to direct sound, know how to direct the edit, obviously, know how to direct the actors, know how to direct the production design, the set. And finally, 2 more things, know how to direct relationships. Every department reports to the producer, to the director. They get their instructions from you. If you do like they do in the bank, where you set rivalry and competition between departments, you know they do it in bank, they give them targets. If you do that on your film set, yeah, now you go run and down by yourself. Because film is collaborative. And the moment I start hiding from this next department, what I'm doing, the film will fail. Everybody is supposed to share resources and work together for the, you get, that's the idea of film. And then lastly, ambience. The last thing the director should know how to direct is ambience. When I say ambience, what I mean is the, thank you for your explanation, but I think it's at times it portrays common attitude of a people. For example, Yoruba people can be loud when arguing and more verbal than actual fights. You know, this is actually half true, half not true. Yoruba people are not this person. Okay, let me finish my thought pattern. I'll come back to this in a minute so that we don't derail. I was talking about ambience. Directing ambience is the last thing directors direct. Okay, ambience is what? I'll give us an example. I was once doing a documentary for a school and we were interviewing students. It wasn't a documentary per se, it was like a handbook, a yearbook for graduating SS3 students. So instead of them filling the yearbook, we did it as a video. So I was interviewing all the graduating students. Some of the boys had come, they had done. And then when the girls came, about 4 of them came at the same time because we were doing it in a room. 15 minutes, this girl had not said one word. 30 minutes. Do you know what the problem was? Every time she wanted to start saying something, her friends would ridicule her and she'd be like, and then she would have to start all over again. And that kept happening again. Do you know what I did? I chased out all her friends. And when it was just her alone, she could do the interview without any problem. What I did was I controlled the ambience of my set. Whatever was going to get in the way of my actor. Whatever was going to get in the way of my actor giving their best performance, I removed it. That is the job of the director, to set the ambience of your production so that your actors can deliver their best performance. Yes, babe. Then you are not the director. Okay. Yes, that's different from a film. That's different from a film. In a film, a director should have tight-fisted control over every element where you're shooting. It's one of the first things you and the producer must find a way to settle, or else that film will not go right. I don't know if I communicated with that. For example, if you're shooting in a club, if you've ever seen a film that they did a scene in a club, I'm not talking of Nigerian film, or most of my examples are not from Nigerian films. But when it is done well, and you see either a club, a restaurant, etc. in an American film, everybody you see in that, what's it called, is an actor. You can't go to a club where there are other people just enjoying themselves and you start putting camera in their faces now. It's not possible. Not everybody wants to be seen on screen. Plus, they can even sue you for using their image without their consent. Okay, so you have a club, everybody should be an actor. Can you give them instructions on what to do and when to? Yes, you are the director, they are your actors. Do you see how you can take charge of your sets now? There. All right. Again, in 2 minutes time, okay, I think we have one more slide to go. Post-production, and after post-production is marketing and distribution. Okay, this is the 5th stage of filmmaking. Let's run through it again. The 5 stages are pre-production, development rather, when you come up with the script. Pre-production, we break down the script to identify all the elements required to make the film. Stage 3 is production, where we do the actual filming and recording of the film. Stage 4, post-production, where we do editing, sound design, and all the other VFX that goes into making the film polished and finished. And then stage 5, marketing and distribution. This is where you take the film and find a way to sell it, whether you're taking it to the cinemas, Netflix, Amazon, etc., to make money off of it. Marketing and distribution. This wraps up the 5 stages of filmmaking from beginning to the end. And all the different people, both producer and director, have different parts to play in these different stages. E.g., the director doesn't really have a job to do in marketing and distribution. He might be invited to 1 or 2 interviews when they are doing the premiere or the screening, but he's not even the one setting up the interview. His job is just to show face, answer questions, and scram. It is essentially the job of the who? The producer. You are the one that borrow money to do film. You are the one that is trying to make profit from the film. It is your job to make sure you maximize and get the best out of this section to make money from it. Not so. So, sir, now you can ask a question.
My experience, should the producer consider cost? Which should the producer consider cost before venturing to location or going to location? Is it the marketing sector first or the production?
This one wants to collect. No. You want to collect certificate and graduate now. Exactly. So, listen up. Now, I was not going to talk about this until the producing class, where we talk about the specific things a producer does. But let me answer that question here and now. The 5 stages of production I just listed. The first stage, again, pre-development, pre-production, production, post-production, marketing, and distribution. On paper, the first stage is development. Yes, I hope everybody online is listening to this. This is extremely, extremely important. Okay, on paper, the first stage is development. That means on paper, the first stage is development. In real life, practically, the first stage is marketing and distribution. Don't start a film. Don't make a film if you've not settled how to distribute said film. Hello? I hope we're all listening online. Let me speak directly to us. And let me tell us the reason why. Okay? So you want to make a film and you want to make a statement with this film. You know that a film can cost roughly 2 million, 3 million-ish, especially if you want to put it on YouTube. But you want to take this film, you want to sell it to Netflix. Who do you want to sell it to? Netflix. So you gather money, shoot correct film, spent about 15 million. Now you have a tight film on your hand. Even Netflix is like correct film. But then you approach and you want to sell it to Netflix and they tell you that they don't buy films they didn't commission. Hello, what do you do? Okay, it is not the end of the world. You're a producer. You're supposed to think fast on your feet. You're supposed to be creative. When problem comes up, you find a solution. Okay. So Netflix is not taking it. How about Amazon? Use that door to lock. Okay, let's take it to the cinemas. Is cinema, anything that can go to Netflix can go to any cinema? Yes? Good. So I'm taking my film to the cinema. Netflix can go and whatever, go to hell. And then you approach cinema and they tell you that you should have a budget of 50 to 100 million for marketing before they can take your film. When we get to the distribution part, I'll talk about that in details. Don't worry. But just take that figure as it is and swallow it. What? So Mr. Man, the hand, 4. Like, hey. And then like, okay, Iroko say max 5 million. He goes to Africa Magic, they say max 3 million. And no, well, it's not outright buying. Actually, it's more like a lease. Africa Magic. Oh, well, you have a point about that. I'm saying let's assume they don't even know. But Africa Magic and Iroko, they buy your film, they buy the rights for just a year or 2 or 3 in the case of Iroko. Africa Magic is 1 year. So after that, the right reverts back to you. You can do whatever you want with it. Okay? But let's follow this guy's story. Exclusively theirs. You can do nothing with it. If you don't want to die in a prison, and you don't want to eat beans in Nigerian prison, believe me. Moving on. Moving on. So our guy, he has spent how much on the film? 18 million. Netflix did not buy. Amazon did not buy. Cinemas is too expensive because it's going to have to spend on marketing budgets. Iroko and Africa Magic are paying too little for how much he spent. He's devastated. So he put the film at home for now. After 1 year, like, hey, is this money going to go down the drain? So he's forced to put it on YouTube. He puts it on YouTube and he gets 1.5 million, what's it called? Naira at the end of like 1 year. Do you feel his pain? No, can you feel his pain? He'll be traumatized. Do you know how he got into that fix? Before I finish it, let's look at a second scenario. Second scenario is Mr. Man finds out that except, please, can we turn on that other fan? So except your job is optioned, commissioned, don't even think of Netflix, okay? So he chooses like, I can't sell to Netflix for now. It calms down. He goes to Roku TV, they say it's 5 million. He goes to, it's a noise though. He goes to Africa Magic. Africa Magic says 2.5 million last. Okay, so he has come to understand that the maximum amount he can get for this film is 2.5 million. Are we on the same page? So if it is you, the producer, you have done your research and you discover that after you're done making the film, the maximum money you can make back is 2.5 million. How much would you spend on making that film? Maybe 1.5 million, Abi. No, I'm working from answer to business side now. Hold on. Let's just be theoretical first. Theory-wise, if you know you can't make more than 2.5 million on a business, it does not make any sense to spend more than 1.5 or 2 million. Maximum is 2 million. You are thinking from how much, leave that one first, but you start from, I can't afford to spend more than 2 million to make this film and sell it for 2.5 million. You know, even 1.5 million is even like the sensible place to stay than 2 million. But where I'm going to is this. You know that he now has an idea of how much he can spend and how much he must not spend. Compared to the guy who spent 15 million making a film and only to realize that he cannot find a way to distribute the film. I said all of that to say this. Where you should start from is from distribution. Determine the distribution you can do, you can get, and work from answer to question. When you know the maximum amount you can make from a film, it would inform how much you can spend on the film, which would even let you know how much you can buy a script for. Quick question. So you have decided you're spending 1.5 million on this film. Everything from scripts, locations, actors, feeding, everything, post-production, maximum 1.5 million. How much are you going to pay for the script? Simple, you can't afford. Let me ask online people. Those online, did you hear the question? You've determined you don't want to spend more than 1.5 million to make this film. How much can you afford to pay for the script from that your 1.5 million? Anybody online?
Script will not get more than 300,000.
150 to 200K should be
150.
Okay.
Between 100 and 150 is okay.
Between 100 and 150. Okay. I like these people. They have church mind. They have church mind.
50,000.
Hey, you see that a woman I talk now.
50,000. There is location. You will pay actors. You will pay director. You will pay all those set people. And you're talking about 300 for. Exactly. We're talking about 1.5 billion. I people don't know how much things are now. Even at 50,000 says that manage.
Even 50K is much.
A wicked.
He said you won't take it.
No, he's saying I am wicked. One thing you cannot considering is that you are going to pay actors. You are going to buy food for, even your worker capacity. You have not considered all these things. It's a lot. It is many people you are going to be giving money. Even if it is 1,000 naira, you will still pay somebody. And the hell you are budgeting is 1.5 million. 1.5 million is very small money, actually, in Nigeria that we are. So you don't want to spend more than 50K on scripts because you are still spending a lot of money. You will beg some actors with your knees before they will even collect the money that you can give them.
Exactly. Hello, one house. One house. Okay, please. Zico.
Assume to go on step, it takes days. Now, in this current Nigerian dispensation, the current Nigerian producers mentality, before you can buy a script, because you buy 1.5, what's some, because there are some things that are being put in, there are some consideration when it comes to script. When you can, without budget. Now, you can't compare a 5 location to 1 location. And producers have their number. Producers will tell you, I only want 5 casts. They will tell you 70 scenes. You don't have storyline. They still be giving you condition. That is okay. Now, let's assume on the normal day, you send them and they love it. They will tell you, I want 1 location and I don't want more than 5 casts. You can complain that one to a multiple location script. Start consuming, and that one costs.
Okay. So it's talking like, yes, please.
Based on what he's saying, and from the beginning of the class, I think let us not dwell so much on this. On the way most of the questions is given, there's something you spoke about, the system. When you're talking about the film industry in Nigeria, we don't have a structure, and so many things are in this place. They are not. Last year, the Writers Guild had strike, but nobody was so let's know. There were many things. There were more than that. It's not. Let me. So we don't have a structure. So it's just that every somebody is a scavenger, make money from selling stuff, and then it's out looking for a script writer, acting and everything. We don't have a structure, and so things are the way they are. So if we keep on, dwelling on much of these things, just like I said, we don't know where we're coming from.
Sure.
We just have to let that be for now. So let's focus on
what happens in
the future. Based on him, one day maybe we become should I say, chairman of the Nigerian film industry, something like that.
Yes.
Ensure that we take National Assembly.
Okay.
And the bill will take, and then we'll have a structure.
Okay. All right. So this is what I'm going to say though. The whole thing is okay, it's still here. I think fair investment in scripts also can contribute to how good the production will be. In as much as we're working with a budget of 1.5, we should invest in getting quality scripts. So let me address something. I am not speaking to quality right now. I'm not speaking to, is the script important or is the script not important? I'm speaking from a producer's point of view, someone who is purely doing business. I am an advocate of the moment your script is wrong, the whole film is bad. You can make a bad film from a good script. Script is good, but the director messes it up, you can make a bad film. But you can't make a good film from a bad script. Once the script's done bad, everything else will follow suit. So I understand explicitly the what's it called, advantage of having a good script. I wasn't speaking to that per se. I'm approaching it, you know, the point I was speaking to is you should start from distribution. Do we remember? We should start from distribution. So the point I was making simply is, if you know how much you can make from your film, it would inform you how much you can afford to spend on making the film. And that's where everything else is supposed to start from. Do we get that? If you know you have just a 1.5 million budget to make a film, you know you should not go and meet an actor that collects 250K per day. You know it does not make any sense. And you want the person to be lead actor and you'll be on set for 5 days. No, really, really. That's 1 million already now, minus everything else you want to. Is it only one actor? You know, go use camera, you will not use locations. So because you know that.
Sir.
Yes, please.
Hello, sir.
Yes,
please. I wanted to find out this. Don't you think this is one of the problems we are having as a when it comes to Nollywood?
Yes.
Don't you think that this is one of the challenges that is making us to produce low quality films? Just because the marketing and the distributions, somehow they are not helping matters.
I agree. I agree. Okay, I'm back. Now, Mr. Paul, you're right. The quality of this is the same thing I'm saying. We're not saying different things. We're just coming at it from different angles. You need a good script, full stop. You must get a good script if you want to make a good film, period. Yes, that is one knowledge on one hand. But again, there's also the business of what you're doing. And that must also be factored into it. If you spend 300K, what I'm going to say essentially is this: prosper at your own level. Hello? Prosper at your own
level. Okay, I'm with you.
Do we get that?
Okay.
So if you know how much you can afford to spend on a film, it lets you know what kind of actors you should get, what kind of cameras you should rent. It's not you with 1.5 million that you insist that you must shoot on red.
Yeah.
You understand? It's not you that you should say that.
I did a film some years back, and I took it to African Magic.
Okay.
Everything they said was okay. In fact, they even qualified for the Showmax or whatever. Okay. But the challenge they had with it is they said I didn't use a known face.
A known face.
So because of that, they rejected the movie.
Yeah. So I will not want us to flog this issue per se. You know, we just started the class. There's a lot of information that's still going to come that will get us to see things a different way. So by like later today in the afternoon or by midday tomorrow, we would have formed an opinion, so to speak, and then would have a place, a platform to speak from. Do you understand? Right now, it's still what we know before we came to class that we're speaking from. Yeah? All right. So that we can still get, because there's a lot of other stuff we have to do so that we can get that done. Let's move more quickly in this class, and then we'll get to some bus stop before long. Okay. Let me see. There was a question I wanted to speak to. Maybe I should leave that for now. It's the general attitude of Yoruba people. They can be loud when arguing. It's more of a Lagos thing than a Yoruba people thing. You know, I'm on Twitter and I see a lot of funny stuff on Twitter that tries to describe Yoruba people, but what they are describing is Lagosians. And Lagosians are a tiny fraction of Yoruba people as a whole. Do you get it? But anyways, that's just by the way. I'm not here to defend Yoruba people. Though I'm a Yoruba person and I appreciate Yoruba people, okay? But I was on a podcast some days ago, actually about a week and a half ago, and it was about colorism, bleaching. And one of the panelists said it practically that Yoruba women bleach because they have inferiority, is it inferiority complex? No, she didn't say why. She just said, and it's common between Yoruba women, they bleach, I'm like, calm down. Before you can make this kind of bold statements, you sometimes maybe need to know the reason why. And when I was done breaking down the reason why it might be like so, like, okay. And its reason is simple. One, whites came to which primary location in Nigeria? Lagos. Both the Portuguese and the British landed first in Lagos. You see somebody who is white. Wait, have you seen a white person before? Do they look like gods when you see them? Okay, maybe not like gods, but do they look somehow special? They look kind of special. If you see a white man, truly, you feel some sort of, I know, no. Don't get me wrong. I believe a black man is superior in a lot more ways. Yeah? Why? Exactly. That's the image they've given us.
Because they look different. They look special, period. They just look different.
Period. They look
different is special normally.
Exactly. But funny enough, here is it. Have you seen a guy that likes a girl and the girl likes the guy back? Do you know what that dynamics is? You see the way you like. There's a way you go feel. Imagine if she like you back too. Do you know she feels roughly the same way in appreciation of you? You would feel like, say, she no send me. She'll be feeling like he no send me. But the two of you are actually in the same place in your mind. Are you following this? That's how different humans perceive each other. When a white man sees a black man, he's astounded, like, ah, do you get it? But like you said, the picture they painted to us, they feel that way too, but because they've subdued us, now we don't, the charm is gone. It's like woman where you don't marry for like 40, 50 years, and then you have another 17 other wives. You know, there's a way it feels. But blacks don't get exposed to whites as much. So when you finally see one, there's what's it called is still there. I said all of that to say this. When a woman sees, when blacks see whites, they want to be like them, skin-wise. When Igbos come to Lagos, and Yoruba men tend to prefer Igbo women because they are lighter, fairer, how do you think the Yoruba women would perceive being fair? Don't you think they would think that is the standard? So if they can bleach, don't you think they will bleach? Do you understand? They think that's the criteria for choosing. Whereas Mr. Ma was just playing around and just choosing something that looks attractive. That informs the woman's reason to bleach. Her child sees her bleaching, thinks there's something special about it, and takes it up too. She doesn't know the reason why, but she bleaches. They now have taken it as a norm. They don't know the reason anymore. Anybody who is bleaching today might not know the origin of why. They just do it because they think it's the norm. For example, a girl that grows up wearing beads, waist beads. Is there anything you can tell her to change her mind about wearing beads? There's nothing under the sun. She's been wearing beads since she was a baby. You might not like it as a man, but hey, that's all she's grown to know, is a norm to her. If you think na ashawo they wear them, you would think she's an ashawo, but she's wearing it just because that's all she knows to do. It's one of the reasons I don't judge people. You can't tell where this person is coming from. So if you judge them, you might be misjudging that person's character. But we do a lot of judging in this country. People just make blatant statements concerning the next person without any backstory. Back to film. So, 5 stages of film, what a producer does and what a director does. I think we've trashed that. We talked about budget. Like when you start your film, consider first the market, the distribution, how you will produce a film that you're planning to take to, what's a column? YouTube is different from how you produce a film that is going to the cinemas. Yes or yes? Do they have the same budget? No. So how do you make up your mind how to approach your film? Start with the budget, with the distribution rather. Start with the distribution that would inform you of the budget and work backwards from there. If it's a YouTube film, can it sell if it doesn't have known actors? Kind of. Do you know that a YouTube film that does not have any known face can still get 10,000 views? If you have You get it. So the first thing I want to establish, which I hope we're getting from this class, is number one, as a producer, start from distribution. Settle how you will distribute your film before you even start making the film at all. Let your distribution determine your budget and determine everything else. Let it cascade down the decision-making process, the kind of script you make. For example, if you're taking it to YouTube, if you have only about 700K budget, you know you can still feature a semi-known star inside and you can shoot it in a village setting. Reduces your budget, reduces locations, reduces how much you have to spend, and you can finish it in that range and plan like over the next 1 year, I want to do 3 films and I don't want to spend more than 500K on it. Do you know you can pull it off? Sounds difficult, but you can. 2 things would have happened if you do that. Number one, because filmmaking has a magic to it. The more you do it, the better you get at it. You're better off doing 3 cheap films than doing 1 big film in 5 years. Do 3 cheap films in a year versus do 1 gigantic film in 5 years. The 3 films pays you more per year. I mean as a beginner, not as an established filmmaker. They take their time, but when you're starting off, the more you do, the better you get. Your job should not be so much of quality. Hold on. You're striving for quality, but your first set of jobs should not be quality driven. It should be experience driven. The goal is to make do with what you have, to make a film, learn from it, iterate, and do something better the next time. Growth should be what should be your hallmark. The question is
some exposure.
And exposure, yeah. The question is, the film I'm making today, is it better than the one I made yesterday? Do you understand? For somebody who is starting up, you're learning on the job. Don't wait until everything done set and perfect before you step out. You will still mess up. I can guarantee it. Your first film is going to be crap, hands down. But let it be crap that is education for you. That is the goal. Your goal is I'm going here. I've done this and I'm going, the next film is going to be better and the next one will be better. Before you know it, you're doing films world class. Shoyewa. Do we get what I'm trying to preach here? That should be our goal.
Yes, sir.
Growth is the vision. It's not perfection when you start. Growth. Okay? All right, this is 12:56, 1 p.m. essentially. Let's take a 10-15 minute break and then we'll resume the class. Okay, is that fine? So I've asked for those of us on ground. Online, those of us online, how many of us are taking the directing class? How many are taking the producing? And who is taking both? I just want to know, at least, so that we know how to move forward from here. Please just type it. Let us know which of the classes you're taking. Both. Okay, directing, producing. Okay. All right, well noted. So I'll end the class at this minute. At this moment, let's be back by 1:15. Everybody online, off ground, on ground, online, 1:15 will resume class. See you then. Thank you.